All right. Yeah, we got stuff on here already. Holy cow. All right. We're going to get to those questions and all that a little bit later here shortly, but we're going to wait a few minutes. We're going to let people have the opportunity to get online and be able to ask their questions, hear the answers to the questions, and do all of the above. So, just real quick, mic check. Let me make sure. If you can hear me, go ahead and let me know that you can hear me. I do have a microphone set up, so I want to make sure that people can hear me to be able to obviously hear me. So, let me know. Loud and clear. Perfect. That's what I like to hear. That's all I need to know. I'm gonna pull up my actual computer here because we're gonna look back. We're gonna do some things. We're gonna look back at some of these videos, and we're going to talk about some of the different things in the videos. Some things aren't exactly clear, so it'll give me a good opportunity to maybe talk a little bit more to make sure I can clarify any things on some of the videos. So immediately right there. Steve, what happened to Bowling Combat? Nothing happened to Bowling Combat. It's still coming. We're through 2 episodes. Um, Probably later this week. My issue this week, let me move the camera a little bit. My issue this week has been the bowling center that I use. I mean, it's the holiday season, so there's been like literally 0 lanes available for me to use to do ball reviews and stuff. I have bowling balls sitting on the floor drilled, ready to go for ball reviews, but I haven't been able to do them yet because the bowling center's been so busy with corporate parties, holiday parties, all that stuff. So we're kind of waiting on that. So probably next week will be a little bit more open. Even the week after, I'll be able to get those going again. But the the bowling combat is still a go. We're still doing that. I got the 3rd episode coming shortly. Should be either the end of this week or the beginning of next week. I wanted to do bowling combat like weekly, but there's a little bit more that goes into it. So I wanted to make sure that we're not. It's not going to be a weekly thing. It'll probably be more bi-weekly than anything when it comes to bowling combat. So, but either way, we're giving away a bowling ball to a winner every week, and I will announce the winner here shortly. Probably in the next few days, I'll make a video for those who won the bowling balls on that. So I'm going to pull up this video real quick so I can see all the chat, so I'm not looking at the camera trying to see the chat itself. So let me see what I can find here. Get the mic out of here so I'm not hitting it. Live now. Oh, I gotta turn the volume off. There we go. Get down in the chat. All right, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, and I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I possibly can. And I can already see there's people lined up with questions. People have been blowing this up already, so it's going to take me a little bit to get through them. So we might be on here for a little bit. But then the other thing I'm going to do is I have right here, I have an idle pearl that I'm going to actually go through. The next video that I'm making is going to be about how to tape your thumb hole properly, because there's a very, very interesting technique that actually works really well. Whether you have issues with grabbing or you have issues with dropping the ball, I can show you how to tape the thumb hole to fix that. For those of you who haven't seen it on my channel, and for any of you who are not subscribers to my channel, just go over to YouTube. You're in YouTube already, but go over and search for Raymond, and you can subscribe to my channel as well. I do a little bit of different content over there because I manage this channel and I do the ball reviews here. Try to do as many tips as I can here and try to mix it in a little bit. This channel is going to be a little bit more product based, and maybe a little bit of inside info, a little inside scenes from some of the PBA events and stuff that I go to, where I get a chance to do some interviews for a lot of the BowlerX staff, and try to do a few interesting, like literally in tournament, interviews and stuff. Like last year, we did a couple of. During the event, we did some interviews like with EJ. EJ did, in between games, we talked to him about what he was seeing and all that. And as of right now, I'm a black cloud because of that, because EJ had like the worst tournament he had all year when I was following him around doing interviews. So I must have made him nervous for some reason or something. I don't know. Maybe not nervous, but so but we're gonna get through some of these questions here. Let me kind of scroll back up to the top and see what we got right away. I know we had some people that made questions before I even went live. we got one here. Layout. Do you suggest for when you want your ball to read earlier? I know what I can't see the top. Why can't I see the top of that? Oh, I can't see the very top of that question. I know it's hard to suggest a layout without seeing someone bowl. I'm more of a high track player. When you want your ball to read earlier. So if I'm using dual angles is kind of where I go with layouts and stuff. If I'm using dual angles and I want to see the ball read earlier, depending on if it's symmetrical or asymmetrical, if it's asymmetrical, obviously that first number matters quite a bit. If it's symmetrical, then we probably don't look at that first number when it comes to angles very much. So anybody who doesn't know dual angles, there's 3 numbers to dual angles. We do the first angle, which is going to be between 20, usually it's going to be between 20 and 90 degrees. The lower that number, the earlier the ball is going to start on an asymmetrical ball. Again, that first number generally doesn't matter with the symmetrical ball. So we're going to go with a lower number on that first number to get the core. It's all about the core, to get the core started sooner. It's about how you lay that core in the ball based on how your hand is and how you roll the ball. So if you know your PAP, you can do these angles. So that's why I'm a big preacher when it comes to making sure you go to pro shops that are going to look for your PAP, or at least know your PAP, to be able to do layouts the way they're supposed to be done and not just kind of throw 3 holes in it and hope for the best. And that's why this new balance hole rule is going to, in my opinion, be a really good thing for bowling, because it's going to hold pro shops accountable and it's going to make them actually do the work they're supposed to be doing. So, but anyway, so based on how you roll the ball, we're going to do the 3 angles. So that first angle on an asymmetrical ball is going to determine how early that core is meant to roll, how you're going to get that core into a roll early. The middle number, which will be actually in inches, it's going to be distance from your pin to your PAP. So like if my PAP here, so I've got the pin here, if my PAP is way over here, it's going to be the distance from this point to here is going to be your flare potential. We're going to decide how much that ball is going to flare. And the flare, obviously, I know most of the people on here are going to be advanced bowlers who are wanting to hear this stuff. So you already know what flare is, but for those who don't, flare are those rings that go around the ball when it's rolling down the lane. The more you see out of those, or the further the distance in those, the higher the flare actually is, so you can get the ball to overall hook more. So the closer you get your pin to 3 3/8 inches from that positive axis, the more it's going to flare. The further you get away from it, the less it's going to flare, all the way up to about 6 inches. You get to about 6 1/4 inches, you're standing the core all the way up, and it's basically just going to tumble and go straight. And then the same is true if you go the opposite way. The closer you go to your PAP from 3 3/8, the less it's going to flare, and the more you're standing that core up again. So the difference is, the closer to the PAP from 3 3/8 means it's generally going to hook earlier and stand up quicker. The further away means it's going to be more tame and smooth and clean down lane when it comes to an asymmetrical ball. So that third angle that we're talking about now is going to determine the reaction that the ball has down lane, or off of friction, or the back part of the lane, more or less. So again, it's going to be from 20 to 90 degrees. The closer to 20 degrees, the stronger it's going to be off of that, continuation from the core. So, and then the higher that number, the smoother it's going to be down lane. So a lot of you guys who see me using some of these big first angles, longer pin, and big third angles, because I'm really trying to smooth the bowling ball out and make it clean through the front all the way through the lane. So that's why a lot of my reviews are doing that right now, because if I'm using a layout like those big long pins, those big angles, and it's still going crazy down line, like the phase 3 was. Like the phase 3 was a 5 or 5.5 inch layout with big angles. It was like 80. I know it doesn't matter the first number, but it was 80 by 5.5 by like 70 or something, and it still went nuts down lane. It was still crazy down lane. So imagine what that ball would have done had I put lower numbers on it with higher flaring numbers. I mean, it would have been ridiculous. It would have just hooked the building. So it gives you a really good opportunity to see what these bowling balls can do based on those numbers and based on those weaker numbers. So, but if you're looking for an earlier rolling ball, then what I suggest is to keep your numbers lower. Your first angle needs to be lower. Your third angle needs to be lower. And then you'll just see the ball hook the entire lane, basically, and it'll be as early as possible. So that's a really long version, but I wanted to get through dual angles there, so you guys kind of had something to look at there. So And then Kyle Moore says 3 3/8 pin to pat will make it flare a lot, making it read super early. But remember, it can. Oh, I think he was answering. He was trying to answer the question for us. So yeah, he's pretty much spot on there. Make it pukey down lane depending on the condition. Yeah, very true. Those ones, those 3 3/8 or 4-inch layouts, those are really good for like the wet dry. If you see really wet dry layouts or wet dry lane conditions, those are really good. So it's that time when you miss a little bit left and your ball doesn't want to hook, or when you miss a little bit right and it tries to overhook, these stronger layouts generally blend that out really well for you. So keep that in mind. Which ball won the bowling combat? Well, I'll let you in. It was the IQ Tour, and it was actually really close. It ended up being like, if I remember correctly, it was like 74, or it was like 54% to 46 or something like that. So it was a really close voting there. But the IQ Tour did squeak out the Venom Shock on that one. So I'm going to be making a video on that, and as well as let the person know who won. They probably already know. I'm pretty sure Lee reached out to them because we did the drawing a while back now. When the contest ended. But for those who don't know, we do bowling combat, where we do ball against ball, and it's all meant for fun. It's not meant to be serious. It's not meant to say that one ball is absolutely better than the other. It just gives you guys an opportunity to see one ball versus the other, and then we do bracket style, and it gives us an opportunity to give bowling balls away too. So you can win and have an opportunity to win these prizes by watching and partaking in the voting and all that stuff. So make sure to watch these bowling combat videos, as we're trying to make them grow. We're trying to give you guys something different, something new that nobody else is doing, and give you an opportunity to really see bowling ball versus bowling ball, and get yourself some more of a clue of whether one ball is going to be good for you versus another. And I'm going to leave this out there also. If you guys have any video suggestions, if there's certain things that you want to see video wise that maybe I haven't touched on yet on either this channel or my channel, then make sure to email me. You can email me at life's traction control jr@gmail.com, and then I'll try to get to you as soon as possible, and we'll see if I can't put something together, unless it's something crazy. If it's some crazy video, then I don't know that I'd be able to do it, but we'll give it a try. We'll give it a go. You get a drink. Hold on 1 second. All right, scrolling down. Let's see here. See what we figure out. All right. What's the best layout for the Phase 3? Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of just covered that when I talked about how it reacts down lane. I think those bigger numbers is really good for it, because that cover stock is so responsive. That cover stock is so quick. We kind of want to slow it down just a little bit. I slowed mine down, and it was still crazy down lane. So I wouldn't be putting too aggressive of a layout on them. I would be trying to go a little bit more tame, a little bit more controllable. But remember, here's my plug. Go to BowlerX.com and get your bowling balls, because we don't do this stuff just for fun. We do this so that way, we can help educate the world when it comes to bowling a little bit. Even if you don't agree with me, it's okay. Everybody has their own opinions on everything, and we're just trying to broaden the whole thing a little bit. So, but the other thing is, obviously, we run a website. So we want people to go to BowlerX and order their equipment as much as possible and take them to the shops. And again, and we're not trying to take business away from pro shops. We just want to, give people another avenue to be able to get the things that they need. Because at the end of the day, pro shops are going to be needed no matter what. They still have to do the service. They still have to drill the balls. They still have to lay them out. They still have to do all that stuff for you. So make sure to support your pro shops just as much as you support the, BowlerX. So if you want, order a ball from us and then order a ball from the pro shop. Kind of mix it up a little bit, whatever you want to do. Moving on. What happened to bowling combat? Already answered that. What's your thought turning your bowler's devotional into a book? I don't know what you mean by that. I guess Tim Clark, if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, I'd be happy to answer that for you. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but I feel like I know where you're going with it. So just kind of let me know what you mean, and I'll try and answer that for you. What do you think of the Columbia 300 Messenger? I mean, I think it's another good throwback piece. It's just your basic. It's going to be one of those balls that's good to start people off with, getting people to who are fresh to bowling or new to bowling. For the advanced bowler, I think it'll be one of those situations where you could lay it out strong and use it on a short pattern, or you could use it for really, really late in the day because it is a lower performance bowling ball. So it's not going to be crazy, but it's something that you can use in either one of those situations. Hey, buddy. So, hey, disclaimer, my kid's here. So if he's kind of loud and obnoxious, it's his fault. It's not mine. There it is. Hey, that's mine. That's mine. I need that. I need that. Yep. Okay. Don't knock that over. I need that bowling ball. We're going to be showing people how to tape it. Yep. You see those finger grips? The finger grips. All right. So, all right. Here we go. So going down, like I told Mason, you two and Wright need to do those little live sit downs once a month. Yeah. I think we're going to be doing that a lot more on my channel, where we're just talking about bowling, where we're just talking about fit. We're just talking about layouts. We're talking about the things that we discuss. Because, when we were thinking about it, we're like, man, what if we were to take these conversations that we have and make them public? Because we do some in-depth, crazy conversation about how we can get better and the things we can do, not only to make us better, but to make everybody else better too. Come on, buddy, I need that. Don't play with that, please.
It's this.
Thank you. Gotcha. Just be careful. We can't knock that down, okay? We don't want to knock it over. All right, so moving on. Get out the way.
There.
Get out the way. I can't see. Oh no. You're okay. You're all right. He gets so mad because he wants to be involved. He's such a daddy's boy right now. He started out, my boy, as such a mama's boy. He was like constantly all up my wife's butt, constantly trying to. He didn't want nothing to do with me for like the first year and a half of his life. And then I took him bowling. And now all of a sudden, that's all he wants to do. Now he's just such a daddy's boy. That's all he wants to do is talk about bowling. We're bowling at the house all the time. He's got his little pins and set up. If I've got a bowling ball in the house, the kid goes crazy. So when it comes to bowling, he's going to be a bowler. As much as I told him in the beginning, like he wasn't going to be a bowler and we were going to keep him into golf, it ain't working. He loves bowling. All right, so JR, I have an old cracked ball. Is throwing that outside in my yard a valid way to practice things like my release and timing? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why not. As long as you're getting yourself on video, you may not be able to go through your full approach, but you could do like foul line drills, just throwing it in the yard, and put a piece of tape on your positive axis. So as you throw it and videotape yourself, you can see yourself. You can see how the ball is rotating before it hits the ground, of course. So where your release is and stuff. So yeah, that's not a bad option. And I'm actually working on a few different training devices that are meant for home. So I should say BowlerX is working on some training devices that we can make that you can do some work at home and practice at home instead of having to go to the bowling center, because I know it's so expensive, and having to go to the bowling center just to stand at the foul line and do drills the whole time, it's really, really expensive and just tedious and annoying to have to do that stuff at the bowling alley when you could just do it at home. So we're working on some stuff, so be on the lookout. I have one already done that is really good for those of you who have like a window, who get your swing away from your body, so it gets out here and you go this way with your swing. I've worked on a training device that I'm finalizing now for you to be able to take either to the bowling center or roll it in your yard or wherever to do some no-step drills at a foul line and be able to just stand there and fix your swing a little bit, make sure it stays close to your body, close to your ankle, and there's poles so you don't hit the posts. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to be going towards making some stuff for there, and we're going to make some BowlerX products that you guys can go get to practice at home. Moving on. I bought a golden Jackal from a friend. The pin is in the ring finger. How is it going to react? I haven't got to throw it. It's in the pro shop. I couldn't tell you how it's going to react just based on where the pin is, because I don't know your positive axis and stuff. So based on the dual angles and all that stuff, you're going to have to go and look at that. I can't tell you how it's going to roll. So you just take it to the pro shop and they'll be able to kind of help you out on that as well a little bit. So let's see what we got here. Holy cow, this is going to take me a while to get through. Sorry guys, I know I'm slow, but I want to make sure I answer these proper. Is the Moto Venom Shock a good ball? Yes, Big Bubble, the Moto Venom Shock is a very good ball. When it comes to bowling ball reviews and stuff, the ball that I usually try to When it comes to like the low end to upper mid range type bowling balls, when I'm trying to actually compare them to something, I usually compare it to like an IQ Tour, because in my opinion, the IQ Tour is probably the greatest benchmark ball that's ever been released. If there was a close second, I would say it would be like a Game Breaker 2 would be the next close second. So when I'm comparing, it's usually to those bowling balls, and a Venom Shock is closer to I would say it's in between a Game Breaker 2 and an IQ Tour. So that's a good combination. So yeah, I really like my Venom Shock. It's going to make my bag an awful lot more than it has lately, just because I haven't had a chance to. I've been on a lot of longer patterns, and for me, those lower differential balls just don't seem to work out very well for me. Josh Vasquez says, when you set your bag up, do you put the same layout on every ball for league night? How many layouts do you take when going to a tournament? Love the channel. Appreciate the comment, Josh. I appreciate you following the channel. When it comes to league, I don't bowl league specifically. I just practice and then bowl tournaments on weekends and stuff. And then when PBA is coming around, which this year there will be a little bit of a change for me when it comes to the PBA events, but that's okay. But I'll be a weekend warrior for the next however many months, and we will. When it comes to creating a bag, I'm trying to. Usually, I'm trying to pick 8 bowling balls that I know are going to fit from low to high. A couple of symmetrical, a couple of asymmetrical, some solids, some pearls, and kind of just mix it up a little bit. And always throwing a urethane ball in there, because you just never know. You don't want to get trapped not having the urethane ball if the field decides that, hey, we're going to throw urethane all day. And if you don't have one, you're kind of screwed trying to work with the transition, because the urethane balls, they deal with the transition a whole lot better than what some of the reactive balls do. So that leads us into the next question, urethane versus short pin layout. I have always been a fan of short pin layouts versus urethane because of the reactive cover stocks. I've just, the shape creates a little bit cleaner, a little bit cleaner through the front for me than what the urethane balls do. So I'm able to control them a little bit better and create straighter angles for myself. So, but I am using urethane a little bit more lately than what I was in the past. So I think it's a toss-up. It just really depends on the person, who it is, and who's going to try to do whatever. But I think you could use either or. I think it's a good option either way. But maybe try one of each. Try a urethane ball. I would never suggest a short pin layout on a urethane ball, because they're already an early rolling smooth reaction bowling ball. But I would drill a standard, whatever your favorite layout is. Drill a urethane ball with your favorite layout, and then drill a short pin layout on something symmetrical that you can try, and kind of just test them against each other and see what they give you versus each other. So moving on here, we got have a bowler with high speed and moderate rev rate. Their ball picks up quick in the dry, not a lot of tilt. They have a bad wrist. Any suggestions on balls or layouts, or maybe Sargeester grip? I don't have a lot of experience with Sargeester. Mushy mushy. I don't have a lot of experience with Sargeester, but I know it does. Sargeester actually cuts back rev rate already. So if you have moderate rev rate, you're going to get them to be a little bit lower than what it already is. So I don't know. That may help. I'm not sure. When it comes to bad wrist, I would imagine you mean they have wrist issues, not so much that they break their wrist down. If you're talking about breaking the wrist down, it's just a technique thing. You're going to have to look at technique and see if you can't improve their wrist. Maybe get a wrist restrictor, or get some kind of device to help them and train them through that. But my ball speed's around, we got SKF boiler. My ball speed is around 14 miles an hour. What's a good symmetrical layout for a rev dominant bowler on typical house? I mean, that's a difficult question to answer, because I don't know your tilt, your axis rotation, or any of that stuff. But if you're rev dominant, then generally you would want a smoother ball reaction. You would want to see your bowling ball be more rounded throughout the lane. So I would say longer pin distances and bigger angle numbers, just to try to smooth your ball reaction out. And so that way your rev rate doesn't overpower the ball reaction based on your slower ball speed. Big Bubble says, this is the mode of... Oh, we already got that. We already did that. This bowler is me. Haha, ran out of characters. Okay, time to come clean. The last ball I bought was a Black Label Elite, and it was bowled 3 years ago. Before that, not for 4. Almost strong enough in the hit. Where do I start? From this. Boy, I don't know. I don't know anything about that ball. I don't know about Black Level Elite. I would try with something entry level, maybe the Messenger, the Nitrous, any of the Brunswick, the Rhinos, maybe. All right, you're gonna hurt my neck, buddy. We gotta get down. Come on, go see Mama for a minute. I know. So I would try some of the lower end stuff just to see kind of what it gives you. I wouldn't jump right into a huge strong ball because you're already used to something older. But I would just kind of inch my way up, maybe buy something a little more entry level and then find your way into stronger stuff eventually. Matt Kilborn says, I converted from no thumb to using my thumb. I have a steep angle of rotation and have been advised to come up the back more. I'm a league bowler. Okay, yeah, I mean, coming up the back of the ball is always a good thing. Keeping your fingers to the inside. Make sure to go check out my video on keeping your fingers to the inside. Keeping your fingers to the inside of the ball makes it to where you actually have more room to rotate the ball. And then rolling up the back of the ball makes your ball reaction a whole lot more predictable. Because an unpredictable ball reaction is very hard to deal with, especially if we're not very consistent with our ball speed and stuff. We're going to want to have a predictable ball reaction. So make sure to... That's something I would definitely work on for sure. Big Luke says, hi, JR. It was nice to meet you last Thursday. Nice to meet you, too. Appreciate you coming on. Is there a part 3 to the offset thumb? No, not really. The offset thumb is more of a... Like my series of videos talking about the offset was more about trying to get people to think about how their hand sits in the ball a little bit different. So then I made, if there was a part 3, it would be that grips video. I did a grips video about the angle of what your grips sit in the ball. They shouldn't be straight up and down. See if I can show you here. Get this down a little bit. Hold on one second. Get this down here so you guys can see. But what I mean is when we're talking about the angle of our grips, from straight up and down right here, the grip should not be angled straight up and down here. Okay, so like mine are angled this way. Okay, so when I put my hand in the ball, I'm not putting my hand in the ball here and then jamming my thumb this way to put it in. Because you'll notice if you put your fingers in straight up and down like this, now they turn as you go this way. So you want to have your grips angled a little bit, so that way when you put your fingers in, now your thumb can just set right in and it would be okay. So it almost gives you that feel of the offset that's not really offset, you know? So, but yeah, hard to explain, but it's just trust me. I would try and just turn your grips just a little bit to make that flat spot, because you don't want the grips to be on the side of your fingers, especially if you use the lift side. You don't want the lift side to be stuck on the side of your fingers, and that's what can cause some cracking and blistering and all that good jazz. So make sure to turn your grips just a little bit so that way they sit flush on the flat part of your finger. Can do a pin down layout because I will always thump the thumb hole. Is it released or not knowing true measurement? It might be a measurement thing. Lee Hayes had that comment. But usually it depends. Some people have certain tilts, certain rotations that certain layouts just don't let them, they're not allowed to use certain layouts because it does hit the finger holes or the thumb holes. So based on high track, low track. So I would just get it looked at, check it out, see what you can kind of do with it. But Devin Bliss says, what do you think of the 90 by 2 1/4 by 45 layout? I think that is a great layout for mid-range. So like anybody with a rev rate of like probably 380 or lower. I think that would be a perfect layout for you, because then you can get it to be clean and strong down lane. I've tried it before. My rev rate's at like 465, which isn't high, but it's not low either. It's not in that. It's higher than the average, I'd say. So. But it flared so much. It flared so much that it went all the way around the ball and ended up tracking over the thumb and fingers at the end of it. So when it got down lane, it actually started hopping down lane because it flared so much for me. So Not a good idea for anybody who's a high rev rate, or even a low tilt or low track type player. So be careful with that. Kevin Scarborough, are you staying with the 4-step approach permanently in all your videos now? You use 4-step, and I would say yes. I think I am going to, because it's made such a dramatic change in my swing. It's straightened it out. It's given me, a little bit easier path with my swing than what I did before. That loop where I went out and it would go in and then back out again, that kind of went away. It's not there as much as what it was before. So going to 4-step lowered my swing a little bit, and then it made it easier for me to keep my balance too. I could get everything in a little bit better position. But the video I did today, for anybody that follows my channel, I did post a video today about deceleration, where if your feet start to get a little bit slower in a certain spot and your swing decels either on the way up or on the way down, it can cause some issues with your timing or your tempo and make you kind of grab the ball a little bit. And that's generally where I run into problems. When I struggle in events, it's because my tempo's off a little bit and I'm grabbing at the ball a little bit too much because of that. So I need to keep my feet moving, and 4-steps help me keep my feet moving a little bit. So Roland says, my PAP is 4.5 and 3/16. How should I drill a Supra? Depends on what you're looking for. The Supra's already a super clean ball that is really responsive off of the dry. So I would be probably laying it out a little bit more stable. But it depends on what you're looking for. If you want it to be super quick down lane and you want it to really whip down lane and be strong, then maybe do one of those longer pin layouts just to see if you can get it to do what you want. It's up to you. I'm not really sure. What's the best surface to use on a broken down house shot with carry down? Those strong layouts, those 3 3/8 type layouts where they flare a bunch and they're blendy, because that's when you start to see that over under. Is the conspiracy theory a good ball? That's one of those balls actually. For everybody else, they said they really liked it, and for me, I put Mo's layout on it, that extreme angle layout where it was that 90 by 3 1/4, 3 3/4, or something like that by 20. The real flippy one it's supposed to be, and that's the one that it flared all the way around the ball and hit the thumb hole and bounced down lane a little bit. So I can't use those layouts, evidently. I've never actually tried those layouts before, so that was a good opportunity for me to do it, but I couldn't. I actually had to put a hole in the ball. I had to put a flare reducing hole in the ball to get it to not flare so much and then get it to not hit the holes. So it worked, but it's still a little bit too much for me. Too smooth, too much down, or too strong in the middle and too smooth down lane for me. How many times can you sand a ball before you need another one? You can sand it as many times as you want. I don't think the sanding doesn't really hurt it that much. It's more of the amount of oil that it gets absorbed by these cover stocks nowadays that is an issue. Just try to use something like Creating the Difference has a new product, that the Clear. So once your ball starts soaking up all this oil and some of the product starts to come out of the ball, the Clear is a product that you can actually soak your ball in that will take some of that out and put I forget what they call it, plasticizer or some junk, puts it back into the ball that helps you reaction again. So everybody's done the research on it. Ron Hicklin's done the research on it, and apparently that's I haven't used it yet. He sent it to me. I haven't done the video on it yet. I want to make sure I do a full review on it for him. That's a good option. I've seen nothing but positives out of it, so that's a way to do it. Or take it to the pro shop, get it resurfaced, and maybe have them put it into the resurfacing machine. Whichever one that they may have, you can give them a try and do it that way. JR, I'm a modified full roller where the ball just travels the circumference of the bowling ball. Can you explain what actually happens when the ball is thrown on full roll? I mean, the ball just tracks in the middle of your thumb and your finger, so it's how you release the ball. Like Tom Smallwood, Frank Snodgrass, some of those are Dave Ewald. I don't know if you guys know any. I know you know the Tom Smallwood name, but I don't know if you know the other two names. But these guys are full rollers, and they're all really good bowlers, and they make it work. It's just the cool thing about being a full roller is it actually gives you, it makes it simplifies the game for you. So you're going to see the same reaction pretty much on every pattern. I mean, you're just going to see a little bit more scoop, a little bit more cleanliness on one pattern versus another, but you're going to see the same type of shape out of all of your bowling balls, and you can kind of just match up your cover stocks that you're using with it. So, but you're just basically tracking in between your fingers and your thumb. It's just the way you release the ball. It's nothing major. It's not a bad thing, and I wouldn't call it a great thing. I think it's just something that you just learn to work with. Hey JR, how would you drill a plastic ball? OTB for spares. It doesn't matter. It's plastic. I mean, just you should be shooting straight at all your spares anyway. So I always recommend using a plastic ball of some sort. How you lay it out really doesn't matter. It's plastic, you know, unless you get one with a core, which I think that's a waste of time. I know companies don't want me to say that, but I think it's a waste of time getting a plastic ball with a core because you're never going to use it. Those cover stocks are just way too weak. But unless you're bowling a plastic ball tournament somewhere that allows a core, and then even if you're bowling a plastic ball tournament, usually they say you can't use those balls because they have cores. So, I mean, I think it's just a waste of time. It's just kind of a gimmick in my opinion. But if that's something you want to do, then go for it. But I mean, it's up to you. But I don't think a layout really matters with plastic ball. You're just throwing straight at your spares. It should just be hard and straight all the time anyway. Bowling Center does not push fresh oil out for league. Wow, that's weird. That's different. I've never heard that. Lamont Brown. Hey, JR, what are your thoughts on the IQ Emerald? Thanks very much. Enjoy your channel. Appreciate that, Lamont. IQ Emerald is pretty much, to me, it's like the old gold IQ Tour. It's that earlier rolling one. It's not as clean as what the solid was, in my opinion. I think it sees the friction a little bit more. Maybe it's because of that little bit of pearl that's in them. I think, but they're really good. I mean, I haven't seen one that's rolled bad yet, so I would say it's a really good bowling ball. You know, I'm a little sad I haven't added one to my bag yet, but I've still got my IQ Tour that, you know, comes into play every once in a while. What's the best way to make the jump from league to competitive bowling? I don't think there is a best way. I think you just do it. You know, if you think you're ready to try to get into some competition and see where you stand, then make sure to get out there and test yourself. You know, really see. Hey, get that out of your mouth. That's not a drink. No. Put it down. I mean, there's nothing in it. It's just that oil, avocado oil bottle. It's clean, but but yeah, I mean, if you're ready for competition, you want to see where you stand against, you know, the field or where everybody else, then go ahead and just bowl. You know, you can't go out there worrying about the money. You can't go out there worrying about anything else. You just got to worry about, you know, just going out there and trying to do your best and seeing how you stand against competition, and then go from there. You know, so what do we got here? John McGuire. Hopefully I didn't miss too much. No, John, we're just kind of chatting. I'm trying to get through these comments. There's an awful lot. I don't know that we'll get through them all today, but I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. Poor assistant. Yeah. Oh, there's Tim back again. There are excellent devotional books. We read them and reference them to get direction and comfort on specific topics. Some athletes have written them to address things they experience in sport. I don't think there are any for bowlers. Yeah, I don't, you know, bowling is just such a tough, there's a reason why you don't see these books. Like, there's not a specific book that says, this is bowling, this is how you become really good at it, this is what you need to train on, this is what you need, because it's different for everybody. What works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. The best coaches in the world, the best people who are teaching in the world are ones who can, you want to put these in there? All right, let's put these in there. There you go. Go find a lid. The best coaches in the world are the ones who can take what you have, take who you are, and make you better at it. They're not trying to mold you into something you're not. They're not trying to say, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. You know, that's not a good coach, in my opinion. I think a good coach, or somebody that can teach, is somebody who's going to take what you do and you're going to make you the best at what you do. Now, we're always going to try and say, and try and improve certain spots to make you more consistent. Like, there's certain timing spots, certain ways you need to be in the swing that are important. But how you get there, you can do it however you want. So when it comes to writing a book and saying, like they used to have a book on timing. It said, if you're taking 4 steps, you have to push the ball right away. Or if you're taking 5 steps, you push it in the second step. And in the second step, the ball has to be by your side. And then the third step, it's in this position in the swing. And it's just not like that anymore. Now there's so many techniques and there's so many ways of doing things that there is no wrong. Because the game of bowling and people in bowling have proved over the years that there's multiple ways to do it. And you can be successful at it in multiple ways. So there is no one true way where it says, look, you have to do it this way, or otherwise you're never going to be successful. I had somebody try to tell me a few years, like in 2012, somebody tried telling me, they're like, if you keep your game the way it is, you'll never have any success out on tour. I took that as a little bit of a slight, a little bit of a jab at me, and it's okay. I mean, it just kind of made me work harder. A few years later, I started making a couple of shows. I made the ESPN show, made a couple of extra frame shows, finished second in a couple of different times. I haven't won out on the PBA events, but I've won on a regional tour. I've had a little bit of success, very, very little success, nothing to brag about. But that's just an example of, somebody telling me that because I have that loop in my swing or something specific that I'd never be successful. And that just goes to show you can prove them wrong. Like, look at somebody like Brandon Novak. Like Brandon Novak, anybody that knows that name, he has probably the ugliest, worst swing you could ever watch. But yet he's made shows. He makes runs. He's won some of the biggest amateur events in the country. And when you watch him, most people would look at him and be like, geez, I'd put every dollar I own against that guy. And then he'd be that guy that would take every dollar you have because he's that good at repeating what he does. So it's just, you got to be careful with stuff like that. I don't know that anybody could really ever write a book. It's just like with lane play. Could anybody ever write a book and say this is how the lane should be played based on this pattern or that pattern? No, because everything is different. Everybody is different. How you play the lanes is different. How the lanes are going to be played based on topography, the environment, the weather outside, the temperature inside, the humidity inside, all the different things just come into play that you can't write a book and say this is how you should do things, because it would just never happen. It would just never work that way. So when it comes to that, I don't know that I actually could. Is there a brand of insert tape that doesn't have aggressive texture on it? I'm trying to figure out how to use thumb tape for when my thumb swells and shrinks. Yeah, I mean, they're all different companies have a slicker tape. Like Turbo, for example, has what they call slick strips. They're real thin and slippery. So they're just basically like space. They take up space, more or less, and keep it to where you don't have that grippy texture. So look at that. And then other companies, Master has black tape, stuff like that. But me being a Turbo guy, I'm always going to recommend using Turbo because that's what I do. That's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, there's definitely tapes out there. All right, here we go. Keeping going. Boy, I just skipped over a bunch. I'm trying to roll back up. I'm really sorry if I don't get to some of your questions. There's just so many here now. Kyler says, hey, JR, I was wondering if you had any tips for helping someone to get left when they are bowling later in a block. I feel like I get shut down after I go about fifth arrow. And I'm going to go ahead and assume and guess it's because of where your hand gets. You play the outside part of the ball too much. 9 times out of 10, or I'm even going to go say 99 times out of 100, people who struggle when they move left, it's because they create that window and they start to get their hand outside of the ball, or so they go this way outside too quick instead of being inside and rolling through the ball from the inside. So if you do that, that's what's going to cause your bowling ball reaction is going to be very weak when you move left, or it's going to be real early and blah. It's not going to hook down lane like you want. So it's going to force you to feel like you need to go back right, and then you're really going to struggle as you go left. So that may be an opportunity. You could hit me up on my virtual lessons. I do virtual lessons on Patreon. You can go to www.patreon.com/life's-traction-control, and we do a few lessons on there. But disclaimer, I do get behind on them because there is quite a bit. So don't expect a immediate response. It's going to take me a minute to get to it, but I do get to them within the month. And anybody who's waiting for theirs, they're coming. Don't worry, they're coming. But anyway, you can go over there. There's a link in the description here as well to where you can go and click that and sign up for those, and I'll be able to help you out a little bit to get that taken care of. But that is something that's a big popular question. That's something that always comes up. It's one of the biggest issues is there's two things. It's either tempo or it's the hand getting to the outside too fast. that causes issues. Those are the two things. Once we fix those two things, generally your average skyrockets, your consistency skyrockets, and things just all around get better, and you start to learn the game a little bit more. Moving on, polishing a ball for the first time by hand tomorrow. Any tips? Hit every spot of the ball? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that. I've never polished a ball by hand, so I would be trying to take it in and get it done on a spinner, just because you're going to get, a better, I mean, you can do it. I would go over to the Creating the Difference, go see Ron Hicklin's page. He's got some advice. He uses the turtle wax polish that they created. He's got some advice on doing it by hand, because he did make a polish that was meant for doing it by hand, so you can go check that out over there. He'll be able to give you a little bit more advice on that. I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure. How do you feel about the DV8 Turmoil Hybrid and the hybrids in general? I don't know anything about the Turmoil Hybrid. I didn't drill one. I haven't done a review on it, so I couldn't tell you. I don't want to give you bad information on that. But hybrid cover stocks, I mean, I'm indifferent. Like using halos, for example. I have all three halos. The Halo Solid versus the Halo Hybrid. They're super close. And sometimes I even see the hybrid be a little bit earlier. And I think because of the higher response pearl that's mixed into it, sometimes that pearl likes to see the friction and go a little bit harder off of it. So I think we can, I think it's really determined on what pattern you're bowling on. So I don't know that I could say. I know hybrids, technically when people hear pearl versus solid or hybrid versus solid, they think those pearl bowling balls are technically supposed to be cleaner and stronger down lane. And sometimes you get into a situation to where the pearl bowling balls are actually earlier because they see the friction quicker, because it's a higher response. The polish actually makes a higher response to friction. So you got to be careful with that sometimes. I battle over under and can't do much with my hand due to wrist problems. Yeah, I mean, maybe it might be a layout thing for you, Joey. You might be able to just kind of try some different layouts and see if that'll help you get you into a better situation. Blade says, hello, JR. I'm from Brazil. That was weird. Who does that? Brazil, and I really appreciate your bowling class here on YouTube. Congrats. Thanks, Blade. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying to do as much as we can to make sure we're educating and helping people get better, because that's what we do, BowlerX is for the love of bowling, So I know, I had my channel before I actually started working with BowlerX a little bit, but it was a really cool thing. My channel started to have some success, and we reached an agreement with BowlerX to where, we're going to try and reach out a little bit more and work both angles here. Use a couple different channels to get as much information out there as possible. So anybody that already follows my page knows I go live on there every once in a while to do, not quite like this. Usually I'll just go live and I'll be talking. I'll either be in a practice session or I will be at the pro shop talking with some of the guys and just having conversation, trying to just, get that info that we talk about out there. So we're here. I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to try to do these more often, where we do a little bit of Q&A, and so you can get some answers on some of the things that you're trying to learn. And again, if you have video requests, that's something that you want to learn that maybe you think a video would help you with, make sure to email me at lifestractioncontroljr@gmail.com, and I'll try to get something put together for you. But again, thanks from Brazil. I appreciate you guys coming in. I know when I looked at the analytics, there was actually like 60 different countries that tune into this channel. So that's an awful lot, and we appreciate every bit of it. That's pretty cool. How do you feel about two-handed bowlers, JR? Mark, I think it's just the game's evolving. I think people are starting to adapt. I think people have figured out an easy way to get through the issues of the thumb, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people go away from using their thumb, is because clearing the thumb and getting your thumb out properly is an art form of its own. You can see the video I just did on the BowlerX channel, I think it was yesterday, where we talked about how you should be squeezing the bowling ball and how you should be holding the bowling ball so that way the ball lets go of you rather than you letting go of the ball. I think it's a really difficult thing to do, and if your ball doesn't fit you properly, it makes it difficult. And sometimes people just kind of give up and they go to two-handed because it's easier to clear the thumb that way and create the rotation and the revolutions that you want, and that's okay, that's fine. But here's the problem: is that that's actually really hard to become consistent that way, because Two-handed bowling is more difficult, in my opinion, when it comes to the entire physical game, because gaining the ball speed is really hard with having both arms going back, holding the ball. It's a technique that I'm studying it, I'm looking into it more, and I keep getting a lot of people asking me to do some training videos for two-handed bowling, and I'm just not quite there yet. I'm not quite to a point where I want to start teaching people two-handed bowling because I don't know enough about it. I don't know the ins and outs about it, and I'm trying to figure it out and learn it a little bit. I know some of the tricks that these guys have to do it, so I'm going to try and push those out a little bit so they help some of you guys who are two-handed, but that's why I haven't done very many two-handed training videos yet. It's because I don't know everything about it yet. So we'll be on the lookout for that and see what we got. What's up, JR? Out of all the balls you reviewed recently, what's been your favorite or favorites? I'd say it's a battle between the Halos and the Idols. All three, I've drilled all three Idols and all three Halos, and I think they're great stepping stones. Those are 6 bowling balls that will go with me everywhere, no matter what pattern I'm bowling on, because that gives me 2 pearls, that gives me 2 solids, and that gives me 2 hybrids, and that's 3 symmetrical and 3 asymmetrical. Boom, that's a perfect 6-ball start. And then you can kind of mix in some of your lower end stuff, your IQ Tours, your Motive Venom Shocks, maybe even your Phenom, or not your Phenom, shoot, what's that Brunswick ball? I already forgot the vintage ball. Dang it, I can't remember the name of it now, but I think it starts with a P. But whatever, you know what I'm talking about, that Brunswick ball, the black one. That's another one you can throw in there. The Hero from Brunswick. Some of the DVA stuff, the Verge, you can throw some of that in there. And then you have other bowling ball. When you want something a little bit more down lane, you go to something like Phase 3. You already have your Idol Pearl, your Halo Pearl. So, I mean, I just think that's a great 6-ball start to get you going. I have a hybrid hammer statement, and I continue to struggle with leaving corners. If I recall, you weren't much of a fan. Would adding surface help? Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that ball because it was just too smooth. It was too early and too smooth, and I'm already a rolly type person. My ball roll is already forward, so getting a bowling ball to finish through the pins is the hard part. So with that being said, I mean, maybe surface would help, or maybe even a little bit of shine would help. Maybe shine. I would try shining it a little bit to see if you can get it to pop more down lane and get through the pins a little bit better. Tim Clark's back, answering a previous question. Your vid about adjusting rotation angle helped me as a new two-handed bowler, just as KC, just as much as a one-handed bowler. Well, that's good. I appreciate that. I'm glad it helped. There we go. I'm trying to get down here. Have you ever watched the RLB Experience? I like those guys. What is your take on them? I think you're talking about the Real League bowlers. I did see a few videos on that, and I think it's really cool. I think that's a great idea to kind of give more of an inside look at, what your typical everyday kind of guy feels about them. Some people think that I'm a little too advanced when it comes to some of this stuff, but I try to dumb it down, not dumb it down, but I try to make it as simple to follow and as easy to follow as I possibly can. Yeah, I think that's a really good option. I'm never going to tell you not to go watch something. I think everybody that's on here needs to go watch those guys. They need to go watch Brad and Kyle. You need to go watch Ron Hicklin's channel. You need to go watch as many videos as you can, because you'll notice that we all have differing views on how these things work and how different things can be done. So if what I say doesn't quite click with you quite right, then you need to go and talk with or go watch somebody else's video and see if maybe they're saying it a little bit different to get you to see it a little bit different and get you to be able to do what you're trying to do. So that's why it's so great. And I'm trying to influence as many of the PBA guys to come out with videos or get into YouTube, but I think they're all kind of a little bit chicken, and I hate to call them out, but I'm calling you out. Guys, you need to be out here creating videos for people to learn from you, because you have inside view. Even if it's just telling people what you see, what you view, how you react to things, people can learn so much just from what you see, and it gives them an opportunity to be able to take what you're saying and try to implement it in themselves and see if it works for them or for you guys. So for any PBA guys out there who are questioning whether to start a PBA channel or a YouTube channel, I know Ronnie and EJ were talking. They made a post the other day and said, hey, if we made a YouTube channel, what would you like to see? Those guys need to make a channel, and they need to start talking about things so that way we have more videos out there. Because you can't look, it's not a competition. It's not like I'm not battling anybody on YouTube. I'm not trying to get more views than anybody else. It doesn't work that way. That's not what it's about. It's about getting as much information out there and different views out there, for as many people as possible, so that way this game has more information. So you're starting to see a little bit of a blow up, I think, between my channel, the BowlerX channel, and Brad and Kyle. And I think once we started to really do this, I think we've kind of made a big influence. I think we've influenced the YouTube platform for bowling enough to where you're starting to see more channels pop up and people start to create their own to get information out there. So I think that's great, and I think that needs to happen, because the more information we get out there and the more people are learning, the more people are more interested in bowling, and then the better the whole industry is doing. The more money there will be in bowling, and the more opportunity my kids and your kids, and if you're a kid yourself, the more opportunity you will have to be able to go out on tour and make a little bit of money. So we've got to continue to do these things. We've got to continue to make these videos and do as much as possible, without obviously overdoing it. You can overkill it a little bit, and you're going to see videos. You're going to see them on my channel. You're going to see them on this channel. That you're going to see some redundant videos. You're going to see me go back and make the rev rate one again, and I remake them every so often, so that way maybe I learned something new, and I can kind of introduce it in a different way. So when I redo a rev rate video, it's going to be a little bit different than the previous one. Even though we have kind of similar talking points, it's going to be a little bit different. Maybe it's just enough different to help, somebody who, didn't quite learn enough from the first one, and now they'll see this one. So that's why you're going to see some, redundant video. You're going to see them over and over again. You're going to see different videos popping out again. So, just because you've seen the first one that I did, that doesn't mean don't watch the second one, because the second one will be a little bit different, and it might help just a little bit. So moving on. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there, a little bit of a tangent. Do you like the wild streak? Nope. Simple answer there. No, I mean, it's very sensitive to me. I haven't figured out where to use it or when to use it yet. It goes with me everywhere because it is like a step up from the IQ Tour. So I just haven't had an opportunity to use it anywhere yet. So as of right now, I'm going to say no, but for my game anyway, I haven't had an opportunity to use it. Finger grips versus dry drill. What is preferred as a pro? I don't think it matters. It really, I don't think there is a preference. I think it's all about feel. It's all about comfort. It's whatever you want. Try them both. If you like grips, use grips. If you don't like grips, don't use grips. I'm not going to tell you one way or another. It's all about comfort. That's what this game's about. It's about figuring out what works for you, what's going to work for you. And if something doesn't work for you, then you need to change something to make it work for you. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. You just need to figure out exactly what it is that's going to work for you. And once you figure that out, run with it and continue to improve on it. So have you drilled up a 900 Global Infused? I have not. How would you compare it to the Tank Blitz? Yeah, no, I haven't drilled it up at all. But the Tank Blitz is the strongest urethane ball I think I've ever seen in my life. So if you're looking for a strong urethane, go get yourself a Blitz. That thing I was able to hook the lane with it, and it's urethane. It's crazy. Well, I guess it's technically not urethane. It's that micro polymer or whatever they call it. But yeah. Joy Rant, I will clarify. They have a bad wrist. Okay, can't get around the ball when moving inside. I have a heavy roll, so it picks up at my feet. And basically hydroplanes in oil. Don't know what to do. So if you have a bad wrist, let me see if I can explain this a little bit. For those who have a bad wrist, that doesn't mean you can't get the rotation you're desiring. That just means you won't be able to create the leverage and the power with the rev rate out of it. So let me move this a little bit. Get this to come down again, just like this. So that just means that you're not going to be able to stay under it. You're not going to be able to keep that broken or that bent cupped wrist under it. You're going to have to be more firm here. So to create the revolutions or the rotation that you want, you're not going to go up this way. You're going to want to go in this way. Okay, and if that hurts, then you just need to try and just somehow get your fingers to the side of it or rotate a little bit sooner to get your hand around the side of it. So the heavy roll, it's not something that you can't correct. It's not something that is going to hinder you completely. It's just something you're going to have to work on. A bad wrist doesn't necessarily mean you can't rotate the ball. It just means you're probably not going to be able to create the rev rate or the revolutions that you want but you can create different types of ball rolls still. So you're going to have to figure out what is comfortable for you, what allows you to do what you want to do, and just test it and try to figure it out. I have early hook right, but no hook inside. Yeah, and that's a lot of what it is. I've had a halo that would leave the 10 pin because of deflection on a broken down house shot, but the idle on the exact same thing, same line, would not deflect and strike. What would cause this? So the halo is it's a stronger cover, a solid cover. So when you go from a solid to oh wait, you're saying from the halo to the idle. Okay, so that is asymmetrical versus symmetrical. The halos are asymmetrical, so that core is going to kind of make a stronger motion and stop, which will make it hit the pins and deflect, whereas a symmetrical ball will not make that strong motion. It's going to be more rounded, and it's going to be continuous down lane. So that's the big difference there. So that's why I like the halos versus and the idles, because when the halos are a little bit too quick or a little bit too early, I can go to the idles and maybe bump my feet a little bit left and get the ball to continue through the pins a little bit more. So that's a great question. That's a perfect example right there of why you would go from asymmetrical to symmetrical. What's your favorite ball you have ever thrown? Back in the day, my favorite was I had a Roto Grip Horizon. I was one of the few people who didn't like or actually like that ball. Most people did not like that ball, and I'm not really sure why, but I made a lot of money with that ball. In a year span, I won a couple of different big amateur tournaments with that thing, and it was amazing. It was the kind of, it reminds me of Phase 3, really. But in today's game, those quick down lane balls just they don't work for me very often. But that Phase 3 is going with me everywhere, because when that ball is in play, it's going to strike a lot. So I'm going to be trying to make it in play a lot. It may not be successful, but I'm going to try. What would you recommend as good complementary ball to the conspiracy, radical conspiracy? Woo, have no idea. I don't know enough about the conspiracy line. So I would, I don't know, maybe just do some research, try to find some numbers, maybe find some lower numbers just a little bit, just to see if you can find something different. But I wouldn't know how to answer that too well. Holy cow, I just skipped a bunch on accident. For all those saying Merry Christmas, thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Appreciate that. I'm gonna try and skip through a little bit here. It's just I can't get to everything. We're already at an hour and 2 minutes here. So appreciate the feedback. Brunswick crown polish works great by hand. Okay, that's a good option. You can try that. JR, love your insights and knowledge. Keep up the good work. Happy holidays. Appreciate that, Chris Haynes. Thank you. Thanks for stopping in. How do you know what your benchmark ball should be? So your benchmark ball should be any bowling ball that you absolutely know what it's going to do. You know what you can expect out of that ball. So when the lanes are tight, you know it's going to go straight. When the lanes are hooking, you know it's going to hook a certain way, and then you can make your adjustments off of it. So it should be that first ball that ever comes out of your bag to give you an idea. If it call it an IQ tour. If your IQ tour, if it's too straight, you know to go to a bigger bowling ball. If it's hooking too much, then you know you have a couple different options. You can either stay with that, and generally your IQ tour is not going to be hooking too much. But if it's hooking a little bit too late down lane, then you can go to something a little bit earlier, and you just kind of make your reads off of it. So it's just whatever bowling ball you're comfortable with that is going to let you kind of create or make a decision on where you want to go bowling ball reaction. Careful, buddy. Don't be knocking that over. Keep this over here. Put this ball right here. I'm going to hold on to it. All right. Ray T. Hey, JR, I feel like I've got my approach and release down, but I'm not getting the reaction I want. Be careful. Watch out. Reaction I want. When I get back to Michigan next week, could I get it filled and re-drilled at MRB to better suit my needs? Yeah, absolutely. Bring it by. We'll have Mason or Anthony hook you up. We'll get you up. I guess my boy's just saying hi, guys. We'll get Mason or Anthony to hook you up and get it done up for you. Not a big deal there. Also, love your videos. They've helped me so much over the past year, especially since I'm super new to this level of sport. That's good. I appreciate that. I'm glad. It's always nice to hear when when we're helping people. The Phantom. That was the ball I was trying to think of. See, that's how far behind I am right now. The Phantom. Yeah, that was another ball that I would put in my bag. My ball speed increased going to 2H. I'm 44. Switched to bowler's thumb. Nerve damage. My accuracy dropped, though. I had to change a lot. Yeah, injuries are a pain in the butt. You just never know what's going to happen. So you got to try to kind of change your fit a little bit to try and get it to be as comfortable as possible. That'll allow you to do the things you want. Because if it's not comfortable and if it hurts, then you're going to be in trouble. You know, so be careful, buddy. Don't fall. Don't touch that. Leave that alone. Thanks for your positive and informative videos. I appreciate that. You're welcome. How do I get my arm set in the correct position? We either do virtual lessons, or you come do a lesson with me, or we when I get this tool done that you can buy this training. You're noisy. People can't hear. I can't hear myself think. You'll be able to buy the training device, and we'll be able to hopefully fix you up. So we'll see what happens. No, don't. Your videos are perfectly advanced enough. The stuff you teach complements Mo Monday so well already. I feel like I know so much, and I've been bowling only for a year. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, trying to keep it as easy to follow as I possibly can. Great point. How do I stop deceleration from the top of my swing? By letting it fall. Let the swing fall. Let the ball fall from the top of the swing. Don't let it decel. Just let it go up and let it come right back down, and just continue through your approach. That's it. I know it's easier said than done, but you definitely need to try.
Whoa.
Hey JR, I have a pink hammer, astrophysics, hustle gold, pitch black urethane I bowl on house shots only. What would you add? You got a big ASIM, two big pearl ASIMs, pitch black urethane, and then a weak. I mean, you need symmetrical. So I would say you would need something like a Idol Solid, the Idol Pro, something like that. Something symmetrical, bigger, stronger, symmetrical ball would help. That's to Jesse Sevilla. That's the answer to you for if you're still around. Is there a way to prevent getting massive knot at the bottom of your thumb or callus? Yeah, I mean, I think we would work on the squeezing. We need to make sure we're working on how you're squeezing the ball. Go look at the last video I just did on this channel. Go check that out. It's how to squeeze the ball properly, how to hold on to the ball without causing those issues. Holy cow, I just skipped over a bunch. Trying to get back up. What's the advantage of a urethane ball? Just keeps the ball in play, I would say. Gives you an opportunity to know what the ball's going to do. You know it's going to hook early, and you know it's going to go fairly straight through the middle and down lane. So it keeps it consistent. It keeps it where your transition doesn't happen as much, and it's easier to locate. Love what you do, JR. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate that, Kevin. You think they will make more purple hammers? Yeah, I do. I don't think they'll be. I think once Brunswick gets the dust settled of everything they're trying to do, I don't think there'll be an issue. I think it'd be silly not to make them, or at least start using some of that cover stock technology in some of the Brunswick cores. So we'll see what they do. I have no idea what they're going to do, but if I was them, I would be trying to introduce some of that technology into some of the core technology that Brunswick already has, and see what kind of cool stuff they can come up with. What about the Whirlwind? Dan Struble. Dan, what's happening? No, the Whirlwind was great. I missed that ball. That's an old school ball. I wish I had that ball still. That was back when I first started college. Have you ever seen anyone using or with the opposite of a Sarge Easter fingertip or ring conventional? I've never seen that. I have no idea. I'm afraid of the Sarge Easter grip because I feel like it would hurt. Like it would just. I'm afraid my finger wouldn't come out of it because my ring finger's buried so deep. I have no idea. I've never tried it. Brian Longo, that was his question. Would you recommend moving the thumb forward on a drill for more comfort? I think if I'm going forward pitch, I'm trying to eliminate some squeezing. I'm trying to eliminate having to hold on to the ball and being able to just relax my hand a little bit. So yeah, I'd always recommend at least trying it, but I'm always going to recommend trying something different. If you don't like what you're doing and you don't like how things are going for you now, try something different. Just do something a little bit different. JCPPY, Thon Painter, getting my phase 3 on Thursday. I'm thinking pin up. I throw 14 to 17, 350 to 400 rev rate. Would that be too aggressive of a layout? Most house shot, I do some tournament play. I didn't see where you said how you were going to lay it out. But I just confused myself on that. So no, I mean, depending on what you want to do with it. No, I mean, I think that I know Classic Lanes and MRB Classic Pro Shop sold a bunch of the phase 3s, and I've not heard of any of them doing any of them having bad. Was I just banging that? I hope I wasn't just hurting your guys' ears banging this thing on the table. That was dumb. Sorry. I haven't had anybody say anything bad about the phase 3, so I don't think there's really a wrong way you can lay that ball out. I think you can pretty much. I think you can pretty much get that however you want to do it. It'll be fine. Try to get back up here. Oh man, I almost got through these. I'm catching up. Woohoo! What do you do with the balls you have drilled but no longer use? Well, right now I'm actually using them for bowling combat. So I have a bunch of them sitting around waiting for the brackets. I got to keep them for the brackets when it's their turn to go up against each other to go through there. So, but otherwise, usually I donate them or give them to somebody and they do whatever they want. John McGuire has bowler's thumb and needs to see a doctor. Yeah, probably, if that's, that bad at that joint where you're getting that, or that tendon right there, if you're talking about right there. I have a snap lock, sure lock, and the lock. Also have High Road Pearl and Optimus Solid. What can I add? So those are the 3 from Storm snap locks. Pearl. Maybe, again, that would be another medium range type symmetrical ball that I would try. IQ Tour. If you're staying in the Storm range, IQ Tour. I would try a Wild Streak in that area. That would be a good option too. I throw a Rhino right now, but I throw around 15 miles an hour with a lower mid-rev rate. Should I get something strong like a Halo or less aggressive like a phase 3? Depends on what you're trying to say is less aggressive, because a phase 3 is pretty strong depending on, what you're looking at. But from where you're at, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think either one would be okay. I keep stopping like a foot from the foul line. Even if I move my feet from the starting point, I still end up fairly far from the line. It's like I'm mortified of it. Yeah, I mean, that's just, you may do some 1-steps and just slide to the foul line to get yourself comfortable being at the foul line. So just do a couple of 1-steps, hold the ball, and then swing the ball once it gets to the top of the swing, and then you can, then you can slide and throw the ball. I would, there's a video I did that on the BowlerX channel. Go take a look at that and you'll be able to see it as well. Would phase 3 and Prism Solid be good additions to a Triton Elite and Conspiracy Theory? I'm never going to tell you no. I think those would be very good bowling balls. I like both of those balls. The Prism Solid, very good, smooth, predictable, symmetrical ball. While phase 3, again, a predictable, strong down lane, symmetrical ball. So yeah, I think that would be a good option there. And happy holidays to you as well. I appreciate that. Quick comparison between Idol Pro and Halo Vision. I'm a tweener. I'd say the Idol Pro is cleaner, maybe a little bit stronger down lane. The Halo Vision is a little bit smoother and smoother and stronger overall, I would imagine. So thank you for taking the time to answering questions, by the way. I really appreciate it. Yeah, sure. So now that I think I'm caught up, finally. Yep, I think I'm caught up. I think I bored people enough. So we're going to, last thing I want to do before we get out of here, because it's been an hour and 15 minutes now, is I'm going to show you a taping technique. Something that I look at. This is going to be, I'm going to do an actual video and post it a little bit later on. But for those of you that are here, you'll be able to see this. Some of you have seen the video that I did on my channel talking about where you put the tape in your thumb hole can manipulate how the ball comes off your hand. This is one of the most important tips that you're going to get, because, and I know I'm going to guess that at least half of the people in this chat probably don't use tape at all in their thumb hole. They always say they don't like the texture, they don't like this or that. But when you try this taping technique, I guarantee it's going to change your mind, because you're going to realize real fast how you can change your ball roll. If you're somebody who has trouble with dumping the ball off at the foul line and it just thumps into the lane, you can fix that by putting the tape a little bit higher. If you're somebody who lofts it a lot and you feel like it hangs up a lot, and you're constantly opening up your thumb hole, you can change that by tape as well. So we're going to move this a little bit. I'm going to show you kind of how I'm doing this. If I can get here. So I'm going to do this in a switch grip thumb, switch grip outer. Calm down there, boy.
There?
Yep, and my stickers. Remember stickers? I know you like these. So we're going to do this. So we're going to take a piece of tape. So with the top of the hole being here, okay? So you always want the tape being at the flat part of your thumb. So on this part of your thumb, you always want it there. Okay? So it's going to be angled. So it's going to be this way off the grips a little bit, right? So I'm going to put the first piece. If I want to hold on to the ball, you going to make it? Bless you. You going to make it, buddy? You can be okay? Yeah? Okay, good.
This.
Yeah.
This.
So we're going to put the tape. I'm going to put it up here at the top. So I want to be able to hold on to the ball a little bit later. I want to be able to stay in it a little bit. You sure you're okay? You good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm going to put the tape up here. About, we'll call it 1/8 of an inch from the top of the thumb hole.
Doors.
Yep. So right there you can see now
Doors.
I have the tape about 1/8 of an inch from the top of the thumb hole. So with this, I can now feel more pressure at this part of my thumb. The more pressure I feel up at this part of my thumb, the later I can stay in the ball and the more I can hang on to it, okay? So now, as you put tape in, you're gonna taper it down a little bit. If you still feel like you're not holding on to it long enough, you're gonna keep it fairly high. Don't ever put them right on top of each other, like right at the same spot. You're gonna go just a pinch lower. So I wanna be able to stay into it just a little bit longer still. So I'm literally only going to go down just, let me see if I can get the angle right here. Just like this here. You see that? There you go. So that's where you can see it's just a pinch lower than that first piece of tape. Now that keeps the pressure and still is putting more pressure up here. Now the opposite's true. If I wanted to, and try this for yourself, when you go and practice the next time, try this with your tape in your thumb hole so that way you can kind of play around with it. This is why you see guys like Duke and Malott constantly fidgeting with tape in their ball. They're moving it around. They're not necessarily always taking it out or putting it in. There you go, buddy. But they are trying to change where it goes or where it's at to manipulate how it comes off their hand to make it roll a little bit different. So now if I want to stay in it, if I want to get out of it faster, I'm going to start the tape much, much lower. So now if you look, if I turn, move your head, buddy. I can't see. Now if you look, if I can get this properly somehow. Where's this at? There we go. Right there. Okay, so there we go. Now if you look, you can see how much lower I put that tape. So now the tape is about 1/4 of an inch to almost 1/2 of an inch low. So by doing it that way and then tapering it down, and then the lower you put it, the slower or the faster you can actually get out of the ball. Now, I know this doesn't give you the exact best demonstration of it, but this is something that you can try the next time you go practice. Make sure you go try this, play around with it a little bit, so that way you can see how it helps you. You can see how you can manipulate how the ball comes off your hand. So for me, when I want to get my hand around the ball and I need to kind of spin it a little bit, get more down lane reaction, I want to stay in it longer, so I put the tape higher. When I want to roll it and I want to play straighter on the lane, I put the tape lower, so that way I can just roll it and I can be fast with it and the ball comes flying off my hand through the lane. So those are the reasons why I use it the way I do, and then maybe it'll help you as well. So who knows? So I'm going to try to get through here, look at a couple more comments. We had some come through. Thanks for taking the time. Instructional videos as a bowler, I watch them a lot. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Thanks, Butch. I appreciate that. Appreciate you watching. What ball should I get next? I have a radical conspiracy, a motive venom shock, and a conspiracy theory. I bowl on a house shot. I'm not gonna, I mean, it depends on what company you want to go with. If you want to stick with radical, I would be trying, that black conspiracy. You got one. That's a radical conspiracy. Maybe the conspiracy pearl. I've heard a lot of good things about the conspiracy pearl. So I would check that out. If you want to go with motive, if you're looking for down lane, I would go with like a Supra or maybe this new one. I got the new video coming out with this new alpha the Alpha, whatchamacallit. I already forgot. I already don't even know the name of it, but it's the Alpha. We'll call it that. The Alpha Jackal. There we go. Ha! Got it. But that video is coming out soon. You'll be able to see that. But that's going to be another one that you may be able to look at. Will dropping a pound in weight make a big difference? It depends on what weight. If you go from 16 to 15, no. If you go from 15 to 14, meh, you'll see maybe a little bit of less hitting power. Some old school generation guys will swear that 16 pounds hits harder than 15. Definitely hits harder than 14. We'll go with that. But studies have shown that there's not much difference between 16 and 15. The big difference is actually in the core numbers. You'll see in the EBI line, the 16-pound stuff has lower differentials, so they're a little bit cleaner and stronger down lane. So yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for different core numbers, then sure, they're going to make a little bit of a difference. Adam Lee, hey JR, Adam from the Mug Club. Last semester I mentioned the High Road X wasn't working. Took it to 4,000 and put the motive polish and got it to where I needed it to. Good, that's good. Yeah, the High Road X is one of those balls that some people, it was a little iffy. Some people didn't like them, some people did. But it's one of those that you can manipulate. You know, I was a guy, I never liked any of the high roads, so I was afraid of drilling a High Road X, even though people talk nothing but good about it for the most part. I was afraid of it because the original High Road, I drilled 5 of them and I hated every one of them. And now it's the same way with Phase 2. I just drilled a second Phase 2, and again, even though it was better than the first one, it's still not very good for me. So sometimes just bowling balls just don't match up. Sometimes you just don't have the luck with certain bowling balls, even though everybody likes them. You're not gonna, not everybody's gonna like certain bowling balls. So depends on what you're trying to do. Where would you recommend tape placement for a thumbless bowler conventional grip? In finger holes, maybe, to tighten up your finger holes. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. If someone uses different hand positions and releases, does it change your pap? And at that point, does pap even matter? Yeah, I mean, it changes, but it doesn't change much. You're not going to see a ton of difference. Why are you spitting on me? That's not very nice. Don't spit on the ball. It's a pretty ball. Don't. Stop. Now you're blowing. So you're not going to see a ton of difference. Your pap's not going to change a lot. You're not going to see a difference in ball reaction until your pap changes by about an inch or so, which then changes your layout by about an inch. So, whoa. And the boy got to the camera and knocked it over. Hold on, guys. 1 second. We'll finish up here in a minute once I get this camera put back up.
That's a bad angle. Nobody wants to see up your nose.
Nobody wants to see my nose. Okay. There we go. Sorry. Kid got to it. That's all right. We're good. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So as your positive axis will change a little bit, but yeah. And that's why different hand positions create different ball rolls, because your positive axis actually changes just a little bit. So you got to be able to do that. All right. Here we go. Let's try and move down. My brother picked up 7-10 split today. Awesome. That's pretty cool. That's fun. I've only picked it up a couple of times. I did it live on camera. For those of you that didn't see that video, I put that video up on my channel. Live on camera, I made that 7-10. That was pretty cool. Is it difficult to hold on to the ball with the thumb slug? I find myself squeezing the ball in my backswing and want to try that grip, so there's no way I get stuck. Yeah, no. Thumb slug actually makes it easier because they're a little bit slicker most times, and you can change the way they feel. You can make them slick or you can make them sticky, depending on what you're trying to do. So yeah, I always recommend using a thumb slug because the insides of bowling balls are different from ball to ball, so it's not... Jackson! You almost knocked me over again. So the inside of bowling balls are different, so it's going to feel different from ball to ball. So, love your assistant. Really appreciate how you share your faith with all of us. John from Pittsburgh. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I do have a channel. It's called Bowling Faithfully. This may tune some people out, but I've started to do some videos where we teach bowling and faith a little bit together. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to go search that out. It's called Bowling Faithfully. I do Bible study each week now. Started last week. We started with Genesis and we're moving on. This Wednesday we're doing Exodus. So we're going to continue to do that. And I post videos here and there talking about different subjects, different scripture and stuff like that too. So make sure to go and check that out. And I need my wife to come get my kid because he's being obnoxious and getting in the way now. Until so I can finish. I'm gonna finish this up, buddy, and we'll be done in a second. Okay, just hold on. But yes, so go check that channel out. Bowling Faithfully is going to be, we're going to be doing an awful lot more over there. So I'm juggling between some of these channels just because I put out as much content as possible. And the other thing I do on that channel is I do some bowling lessons over there to where we relate certain topics of the Bible to bowling. So it's kind of cool. We did Genesis and we did the first half of Exodus. Now I got to do the second half of Exodus on there too. So, and we're going to continue to go through it. So anyway, back to this. What do you recommend between the Wild Streak or Phase 3? Phase 3 all day. Easy answer. We'll go with that. If you had to choose one for tournaments, would you pick an Idol or a Money Badger Tour? Boy, I can't answer that. I think they're both really good. I think I'd take them both. What do you think of the Alpha Jackal? It looks really good for everybody else. I haven't thrown it yet. I'm going to be doing the video on that real shortly. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I haven't had time because the bowling center is so busy with parties and stuff. So we'll get to it. We're going to get to them all this week.
Thank you.
Got a 4-year-old and a 16-month-old. Totally understand. Yeah, it's tough. Love my boy to death. He wants to be around constantly. So we... some of the videos, he actually makes a guest appearance in them. So you get to see him a little bit every once in a while. I struggle when moving left on the lane. I play the inside part of the ball and reduce my speed way down to get the ball to read the lane. The ball always seems to wash out. Sebastian, I'd have to say I need you to sign up for virtual lessons. I need to be able to see it, and I need to be able to let you know what's going on. I can't give you any suggestion if I don't actually see it. And to be fair to everybody, I get people sending me videos all the time. That's why I started the virtual lessons, so that way I can be fair. For those who are serious about getting better and wanting actual suggestions, then they can sign up over there at patreon.com/lifestructurecontrol, and I can get to them as soon as possible. But try to go over there and get that figured out, and we'll get to you. Love your reviews. You show the actual ball reaction, not just strikes. Thank you. Yes. I can't stand, and nothing against anybody that does them. I know they're staffers, and that's what they're supposed to do. Their job is to make every ball look good, so they have to kind of pick and choose which shot they see. I don't want to do that. We don't want to do that over here at BowlerX. We want you to be able to see and make a good decision on what's good for you. I'm never going to call a ball bad, because there is no such thing as a bad ball. There's just going to be situational bowling balls. They're going to be good in certain situations and not so good in other situations. So I'm going to tell you when I think a ball is going to be good when you go left, and not so good when you go left, or vice versa when you play straight when you don't play straight. So that's kind of why I do them the way I do. I do them uncut, and I try to stay on the mic with you so you can hear my thoughts as well. So I'm going to continue to do it that way. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm just kidding. I will try your tips on the thumb tape. Let me know how it goes. Make sure to comment somewhere so I know. Any recommendations on things to try. I think I got to that already. When building a full arsenal, what is your thought process on ball selection and layouts? I've been thinking about rebuilding my bag, but don't know where to start. How to find and build balls after one another. Yeah, you got to find out. Really should only try to stick to just a couple of layouts. You really need to figure out what layout works for you and gives you the most room for error on just about every pattern, and kind of base it off of that, and then drill a few balls. Make sure you have some symmetrical balls, some asymmetrical balls, some solids, some pearls, some hybrids. Mix them in really well. Have them with the same layout for the most part, and then mix in a couple different layouts in there to fill some gaps and holes. I'm going to do some videos on that type of stuff as well, but that's a little bit more technical type thing, so it may be a longer video to where we're going to be on there for a bit talking about it. So just be on the lookout for that. Thinking about changing from traditional 3-finger to just 2-finger and one hand. In your opinion, is it a good idea? Yeah, it depends on you. It's going to probably give you a little bit more rev rate and lower ball speed to start until you figure out. I got itchy nose, dang it. Until you figure out, how to gain more ball speed and get the technique down a little bit. It'll be a good change. Eventually, it will be a good change for you. I'm not going to be that guy that's not going to recommend going to two-handed, and I'm not going to be that guy that says you have to stay one-handed or that you should bowl one-handed. I'm the guy that tells you it's up to you. Whatever's comfortable for you, whatever you think you need to do is what you need to do. And if I can help you in some way, that's what I'm going to do. So that's all I got. What pin to pat has been working the best for you in tournaments? Lately, anything 5 inches or further has been better for me because it's just so much slower, less flare. The ball doesn't see the fronts or the middles as hard, and I can get the ball to do pretty much whatever I want by manipulating my hand. BJ Tustin says, in-game adjustments, how do you know what to try first? Moving feet, target, changing hand position. It depends on how big of a change you need. If your ball hooks really early and goes to the face in big fours, obviously you probably need to do a combination of things. You probably need to move your feet a little bit and change your hand position a little bit to get the ball to be a little bit cleaner and not hook so much. Or if it's just hooking that much because of how strong of a ball, you may be able to need to change balls. So that's not something you can really be taught. That's more of an experience thing. It takes an awful lot of time. So that's when I would say just make sure you're out bowling tournaments, bowling events, doing as much as you can to gain as much experience as you can. So that way you can learn those things, because it's not something coaches can really say, this is, again, like I said earlier in the video, there is no book. There is no right way. So for me, if changing balls for me works for me, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You might be able to just change your hand position and get your hand around it a little bit more and be fine and create the same thing as what I did by changing balls. It's completely different from person to person. So it's going to be up to you and how it works for you. With my shot, it seems as though the faster or cleaner the ball comes off my thumb, it's more likely the 10-pin falls. Yeah, generally you're creating a little bit more rev rate, so that would make a little bit more sense. What could my Pro Shop guide do for my bowler's thumb? Depends on the situation, depends on why you have it. Is it too much bevel? Is it too long of a span? Is it too short of a span, causing you squeeze? You just need to get it checked out. Is this a weekly thing that you were doing live Q&As? I don't know that I'll be able to do it weekly, but I'm probably going to do it more often now that I can go live on this channel. I was going live quite a bit on my channel there because I just needed to do some content on my channel as well as this channel. So more of the live videos were going to be on my channel, but I may do Q&As over here and then do live on my channel when it comes to in practice, at tournaments, in the Pro Shop talking. We'll do those type of lives over there. I've tweaked my wrist and bowl at least 2 nights a week. It'll be fine. And by game 2 of league night, I can't be aggressive with the ball. Do I need time off? Yeah, if you tweaked your wrist, yeah, definitely take time off, ice it, do whatever. If you need to go get it looked at, go get it looked at. Maybe get a wrist brace, even just one of those wraps, just wrap it up. Use some rock tape or kinesiology tape of some sort. See if it can help a little bit. Do it properly. Go online, see some videos. Go to rocktape.com. They have videos on there that'll show you how to tape your wrist, do all that stuff. But yeah, you try a couple different things. First thing is always take some time off and let it heal up. What's your targeting strategy? For me, it's all about visualization. So I try to decide where I want the ball to go direction-wise from the front to the back. I don't necessarily pick a break point for the most part. I look at the direction towards a certain pin. So if I want the ball to go towards the 10 pin, then I look at that pin and draw it back to the break point and then draw it back to my target and go. So I have to see the ball going through that target. Otherwise, it's not good. It doesn't work out very well. So yeah, you should probably use at least a 2-point or a 3-point targeting system, so that way you can visualize it better. And these are things you can practice at home too. You don't have to be throwing shots to get better at shot making. I know it sounds weird, but visualization is a huge thing. If you can see yourself throwing shots and you can visualize and gain confidence throwing shot after shot in your mind, it actually does help you quite a bit. Big Bubble says good night. Good night, Big Bubble. We'll see you later. Hopefully you stick around, or hopefully you come around and watch some more videos a little bit later. Have you tried any short pin to pat, like 1 or 1.5 inch? I have a Dragon that is that way, and it doesn't read the fronts, and then subtle in the back end. Yeah, I have tried them, and I do. I have an Eruption Pro that I like that. I haven't been able to use any really strong bowling balls like that, but some of the weaker stuff I do like the 1.5 inch pin type layouts. It's urethane basically in my eyes. It lets me control the lane for the most part. That's my benchmark, kind of a lot. What's your best advice for a newer bowler to get makeable spares consistently? I made a video on that. Go check out my channel at Raymond. There's a video, straight angles, try to make sure you're drawing lines and get it done that way. But depending on what it is. But always try to go straight at spares unless you have, you know, pins in the back, obviously. If you have like a 2.8 or a 3.9, you're not always going to be able to go straight at them. I'm having problems with my speed. Is there any type of practice drills? Yeah, I did a speed about picking up your speed on, I don't know if I did it on this channel or my channel, but fine, you can look for it. There is one. It's about picking up your foot speed. Your feet have to be faster. Your ball speed comes from your legs. It doesn't come from your arm. It doesn't come from anything else. It comes from your legs. The faster your legs are, the faster your arm actually follows your legs. So you got to remember, it's not muscle that throws the ball. It's momentum. So the momentum has to be faster with your legs, and your arm follows that. So just got to be able to pick up your tempo. Just wanted to mention that I'm new to bowling and have learned how to hook the ball based on watching your videos and the pros from Flow Bowling. Good, John. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're around. I'm glad you were able to pick up some tips and get better. And that's what this is all about. Hopefully we can gain some more new bowlers who are learning to do some things, learning to have more fun with the game because they're starting to get better. You know, the more people who are starting to get better at bowling and we can make get better at bowling, the more people are bowling and bowling leagues and bowling at bowling centers, and bowling can thrive, you know, so we just have to continue to build it. So start nagging all the professionals to start making their own YouTube channels so that way they can, you know, give some tips. And tell Belmo to start using his. He doesn't use his enough. He needs to get on there and start giving tips, especially as a two-handed bowler. There's so many two-handed bowlers. He could blow the world up by just starting to make two-handed videos about two-handed bowling, what he does, how he does it. You know, that would be awesome, because I can't give that type of perspective because I'm not an expert at two-handed bowling like he is. You know, he basically developed it. Between him and Osku, you know, those guys pretty much, they revolutionized the game by doing it that way. So they need to do something. So get on your phone and start messaging those guys. Tell him I sent you to start making more YouTube videos about two-handed bowling. Do you prefer new Vortex V2? My first game was 109 and I had trouble keeping it out of the gutter. And after the second game, I rolled 211. Every game so far has been in the 200s. What's up with that? I think maybe it just took you some time to get used to it. Maybe just completely different, felt a little bit different than some of your other bowling balls. I'm not sure. But I'm glad it got better. Obviously, it got a whole lot better, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I wouldn't worry about it. Do you prefer a weak core ball like a Messenger or a Hustle, or a strong core ball with short pin drill? Depends on the situation. Very, very situational question. If it's a short pattern, I'm going to use a strong ball with a shorter pin. If it's a weaker pattern, I'm going to use a weaker ball with a longer pin. You know, depending on what kind of reaction I'm looking for. Adam Lee, thanks JR for your videos and posts. Appreciate that, Adam. Thanks for coming in. Noel, thank you. Appreciate it. I gave up on two-handed bowling due to inconsistency. Yeah, I think it's a lot of work. I think there's a lot of time that has to go into it. I think it's a little bit more difficult to become really good at two-handed bowling than it is one-handed bowling. I think it's a little bit more difficult. What kind of tape do you use for your thumb? I use the Turbo fit tape on the back of my thumb, and then I also use these the grip strips. They come in colors. These go in the thumb hole. I use these for in the thumb to take up space and to create the shape that I'm looking for. You can get those over at BowlerX.com. You probably could get a discount on them. Use the discount code JRX, and you probably do okay, getting a little bit of money off there. So try that. Since you're not contracted by a ball company, which brand family have you been having the most success with right now? Yeah, I wouldn't say there's one better than another right now, but I'm using the Halos more than anything. So Rotogrip right now has seemed to be in my hand a little bit more, but I have a lot of transitional stuff that I can go to with some of these other stuff. The Brunswick balls have been really good for me. The EBI balls have still been good. The Baller has still been a go-to ball for me, especially when I can go left. So, yeah. But anyway, wife's dancing. She's trying to distract me a little bit. Anybody you should go to TikTok. My wife is TikTok famous, so you should go find her on TikTok. It's pretty awesome. That Fit Mama. What? Why not? You don't want to be famous? Never mind. Don't go over there. She doesn't want you over there. Biggest keys to maintain consistency. Have raised my average 15 pins since I had our lesson. Thanks, JR. It's practice, I think. I think practice is going to be really important for you. Doing drills, doing some of those drills that I posted on the video, you'll be able to see them. The no step, the 1 step, the 3 step, the 4 step, modified 4 step, you know, all those. Do those drills, they'll make you more consistent for sure. Does the PBA allow non-bowling related sponsors? Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have to be bowling related. It can be whatever you want for the most part. You just got to pay the fee. So, what's the best way to contact me for lessons? You can get a hold of me through email. It's life's traction control jr@gmail.com. And for those who are wanting virtual lessons, go to patreon.com/life's traction control. And you'll be able to get on there as well. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I got to get off here. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. That's kind of crazy to me. So I'm going to get out of here. We're going to do this more often. So stay tuned, pay attention. Bowling Combat episode 3 is coming up. I appreciate everybody coming out here, asking all these questions. I'm starting to lose my voice because there were so many of them, but I appreciate everybody coming out. Hopefully we learned some things. I know I'm always going to learn some things from you guys as well. So please continue to, follow these videos, follow these channels, and if you haven't already went over to J.R. Raymond, the YouTube channel, and subscribed over there, make sure to do that. And there's a little bit different content. And for some of my faithful people, for my Christians who want to check that out, go over to Bowling Faithfully. You can see some of the videos we're doing over there. That's a little slow going right now because I'm just getting it started, but you can go over there and check it out, and hopefully maybe you learn a little bit over there as well, and you can help me learn some things because I don't know everything there is about the Bible either. So we're learning together. Bible studies on Wednesday nights. So I'm out of here, guys. We'll see you guys later. Take care. Thanks.